Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, in the previous class we had started with this chapter, that is structure of atom, and in this chapter student we have seen the models which is given by Thomson and the model which was given by Rutherford. So Thomson model, we have understood that what are the postulates and what are the drawbacks of the Thomson model of atom, and then we started to understand about the Rutherford model of atom, where we have seen that Rutherford he has done an experiment, and on the basis of experiment he observed and conclude about the structure of atom, and later on the basis of the observation and conclusion he had given some of the postulates which we also study in Rutherford model of atom. So let us see that what are the different postulates given by Rutherford. Okay, so postulates given by Rutherford students. So Rutherford, what does he conclude by his experiment? He said that all the rays, all the alpha particles, most of the alpha particles, they used to pass through the atom without showing any deflection. So by this he said that most of the part of the atom are what? That is empty. Because of that only, the rays which is passing through it is what? It is. It does not deflect, it does not shows the deflection. Then very few particles they used to show the deflection with a large or a very a small deflection or large or small angles. So he said that maybe there is something which is present inside it that is heavy and that is positively charged also, and because of that only the rays which is when it hit the surface of that solid mass, it get deflected with some angle. It can be a large angle, it can be a small angle. And out of 1200, one of the alpha particle get rebounded with 180 degree, right? So here we can say that the thing which is present inside it is because all the positive charge and the mass, it is concentrated at that middle portion at a less volume, and due to which it is able to rebound the alpha particle which is striking on the surface. So we can write here that the postulates given, the features of it is there is a positively charged center in an atom, called nucleus. Nearly all the mass of an atom resides in the nucleus. So he said that whatever be the thing which is present, it is present in a less volume, and it means it is present at the center only. That center portion of anything we called it nucleus. So he also said that the positive charge is present in the center. It is present at the center that we call as a nucleus. And nucleus is what? That all the mass of the atom is concentrated in nucleus. It resides in the nucleus. Second one, that the electrons, where is the negatively charged particles? So the negatively charged particles, they used to revolve around the nucleus in an orbit. Okay, so although he does not explain about the orbit, he simply said that the electrons it used to revolve around that of the nucleus in a circular path. The electrons revolves around the nucleus in circular path. Okay, so the electrons, it revolves around the nucleus in circular path. Now, the size of the nucleus is very much small as compared to size of the atom. So the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to atoms. Okay, so size of the nucleus, it is also very small as compared to atom. So these are these are some of the postulates which has been given by Rutherford, where he said that most of the portion of the atom is empty, and actually it is empty where the electrons revolve in a circular path. He said that the mass is concentrated at the center, which he called it nucleus, and he said that not only the positive charge but all the mass of the atom is also concentrated at the nucleus itself. So obviously if most of the alpha particles, they are passing through it straight without showing deflection, so the amount, or we can say the size of that of the nucleus is very much small as compared to that of atom. This is what these are some of the postulates which is provided by Rutherford. So we have understood that what is the Rutherford experiment. We have understood that what are the observations that he get it from his experiment. Also, what kind of a conclusion that what are the conclusion done by the Rutherford from his experiment, and finally what are the different postulates that came out that was given by Rutherford. Now, his model was the perfect one to accept in order to understand the structure of atom, although there are discovery of electron, proton, neutron, but we do not have to understand that, students. Yes, most of the portion of the Rutherford model of atom was, yes, true, it was correct, but there is a drawback also. What is the drawback of a Rutherford model of atom, student? It's quite important to know that, because not only the postulates, but the drawback has been asked a lot of a time, that what is the drawback of a Rutherford model of atom? So, drawback. So, what is the drawback, students? What Rutherford has said, Rutherford said that in the center there is a positively charged nucleus is present, and around this nucleus, this positively charged nucleus, electrons used to revolve. This electron used to revolve around it, right? It used to revolve around it. Okay, so electrons, they used to revolve around that of the nucleus. But you see that according to electromagnetic theory, electromagnetic radiation, anything which is moving in a circle or which is moving actually around any other object, so it starts radiating energy. Okay, so if any object moving around another object then starts radiating energy, and since it starts radiating energy, suppose this electron is moving, so it keeps on radiating the energy, and due to which what happened, its speed slows down. Obviously the energy get decreases, so the speed also get slows down. So here the speed it gets slows down and the electron starts coming near to that of the nucleus, and finally what will happen, continuously the speed of the electron will keeps on decreasing, and finally it will get collapsed into the nucleus. So here it will follow a spiral path, and why it is following a spiral path? Because the electrons moving keeps on radiating the energy, and if it lose energy, its speeds get slows down, and thus it starts coming near to that of the nucleus, and finally it will get collapsed. So this is what here Rutherford he said that electrons used to keep revolving around the nucleus. And electromagnetic theory, when we apply the electromagnetic theory in this concept, the theory which was given by Rutherford, it must be the theory that is applied by Rutherford. It must be when we apply the electromagnetic theory in this Rutherford model of atom, then we found that it should be like that. It means the electron must collapse. But actually, electrons do not collapse into the nucleus. It does not follow this spiral path. So, Rutherford, he does not explain that why does it happen, why even though the electron keeps on revolving, but it do not collapse into the nucleus. So actually, in a very short term, we can understand that Rutherford, he does not explain the stability of the electrons. Obviously, if the energy is not releasing and still it is moving, so it is stable only. So he does not explain about the stability of the electron. So we can say here that is electrons revolving around nucleus must radiate energy and get unstable and collapsed into the nucleus. But it does not happen. But it doesn't happen. So Rutherford, he does not explain about that. Later on, students, in order to explain this concept, and another model has came, and this model was given by Niels Bohr, and that is why the model is also called as Bohr's model of atom. So let us see that what is the Bohr's model of atom. Actually, Bohr, he has explained about the stability of the atoms. Okay, now see here, Bohr's model of atom. What is the postulates that has been given by Bohr student? But the most important thing that Bohr has explained the drawback of Rutherford. He said, okay, yes, that is true that electrons used to revolve around the nucleus. But here, electrons, they used to revolve in a special orbit, and he called that special orbit as a shell, energy shell or energy level in which the electron used to revolve. And each energy shell or energy level has a fixed energy. That's why it is also called as a discrete orbit. Now, since the electrons are revolving in a fixed energy level or fixed energy shell, so there will be no chance of losing the energy or a gaining of energy, and electrons will be, it will be easy for the electrons to simply revolve around it. I'll tell you what does that mean. Here, if it is a nucleus, students, what he said that yes, electrons used to revolve around the nucleus, but the electrons used to revolve around the nucleus in a discrete orbit. When we say discrete orbit, it means that orbit which is having the fixed energy. And that is why this discrete orbit is also called as energy shell or energy level. Energy shell or energy level. So suppose there are two orbits, and one more thing, that the orbit is not a single one, but there are a lot of different orbits are there where the electrons used to revolve. Okay, now if suppose this is an energy level which is we called as a E1, and one electron is there around it. Okay, electrons keeps on revolving around it. Now what happened afterward? So this electron is also having an energy of a E1. So what kind of a effect that you will going to show here? See here, nothing, because the electron is having the energy E1 and the energy shell is also having the energy E1. So obviously there will be no losing of energy, or there is no gaining of energy will take place in this electron, and it will keeps on revolving around this orbit. Because the shell, the orbit itself is having a fixed energy, so there is no chance of losing the energy here by the electron while revolving around the nucleus, and ultimately it keeps on revolving without collapsing, without showing a spiral movement, spiral path entering into the nucleus. Okay, so this is how Bohr he has explained and about the he has explained the drawback of the Rutherford model of atom. Let us see that what are the postulates have been provided by Bohr model of atom. This is the last model of atom, student. So Bohr model of atom. So in order to overcome with this the model which is given by Rutherford, Bohr he has said that only certain special orbit orbits known as discrete orbit of electrons are allowed inside the atom. Inside the atom. Certain special orbit is there, that is discrete orbit, and it is present. It only allows the electrons to be there. Then while revolving, because they are having the fixed energy level, so while revolving also electrons do not radiate energy, as we have seen in case of a Rutherford model of atom, because he does not explain about the orbit, he does not explain about the energy level. So every orbit is having the fixed energy shell, so it will not going to radiate any energy. So while revolving, electrons do not radiate energy. It do not radiate energy, students. Now these orbit, they are called as a energy shell. Or energy level. And these energy level is represented by K element. These orbits or shell is K, L, M, N. Actually, the shells are which is present around that of the electron is what it has been given a name, student, like it can be with the number 1 2 3 4, or with the K element shells, means they are, the first shell is called K, the second is called L, then M, then N. Likewise, we have divided the different kind of shells here in the Bohr model of atom in the orbit which is present around it. Okay. Now, every orbit, they are having the fixed number of electrons also, and this is determined by a formula which is called as, which is 2n². I'll explain you what does that mean. Here, now see here, a nucleus is there, around it orbits are there. These orbits are there which is present around that of the nucleus. Okay. These are the orbits which is present around that of the nucleus. Now see here, what happens, all of them are having the fixed energy level, and it is represented by different energy level or the numbers, or it can be represented, the first shell is K shell, the second one is L, the third one is M, and the fourth one is N. Okay, now this K, L, M, N, all these different energies, energy level or energy shell are having their fixed energy, energy also, or fixed energy there. Means these are the fixed or a discrete orbit is there. Means the energy is fixed here. So if suppose if this K shell is having E1, so it can be E2, it can be E3, or it can be E4. Okay, all of them are having different energy, but yes, whatever will be the energy, it is the fixed energy here. Now, we said that in this orbit, the electrons used to revolve around it. Yes, electron used to revolve around it. Now, the question arises that how many number of electrons can be accommodated, can be carried by each of the shells? Yes, it varies. K shell is having their own accommodation of electrons. L shell is also having their own accommodation. M is the different one, and the N. So, there is a formula with the help of which we can find it that how much number of electrons can be accommodated by each of the orbit. So, here the formula is 2n square, where n is equals to what? That is number of electrons. That is the shell. It is the shell or the energy level. So, see here. What happened if n is equals to 1? You can see this is K, and we also called it n is equals to 1. Here n is equals to 2. It can be n is equals to 3, and n is equals to 4 also. So, if suppose we were going to put the value of each of the shells, so we will be able to understand that how many number of electrons can be accommodated by it. So, I am solving it here, students. I am writing it here that how many number of electrons can be accommodated by each of this energy level. So, in case of the first one, here the first shell, that is K shell, whose number is L is equals to 1. First shell is there. So, obviously we will going to put the value. So, n is equals to 1 now. So, 2 into 1 whole square, that will be equals to 2 into 1 only, or 2. So, maximum number of electrons accommodated by K shell will be equals to 2. What about the L shell? So, in case of a L shell, students, the n is what? This time n will be equals to 2. So 2 into 2 square is equals to 4. So 2 into 4, that is equals to 8. So the number of maximum electron accommodated by L shell or the second shell is 8. Then the third one is N shell, which is n is equals to 3. So here, taking n is equals to 3, we get the value. So here 3. Now this is 3 square. 3 into 3, 9. 9 into 2, 18. 18. So the number of maximum electrons accommodated by it will be equals to 18. Then n is equals to 4. 4 square. 4 into 4, that is 16. 16 into 2, that is 32. So maximum number of electrons accommodated by N shell will be equals to 32. So this is the maximum number of electrons accommodation by each of this cell. Okay, K will be able to accommodate only 2 electrons. More if the atom is having more number of electrons, more than a 2 number of electrons, after filling this K shell, it will enter into the L shell. It will not going to be entered after 2. None of the electron will enter into the K shell, because the K shell is having the maximum power to hold only 2 electrons in it. While in case of a L shell, it can accommodate 8 electrons. So after filling this L shell, that is 8 L shell, where 8 shell will be completed, it starts entering into the M shell. And here M shell can accommodate 18 electrons. So this will going to fill the M shell with 18 electrons, and then all the electrons will start entering into the N shell. So this is how the electrons used to get distributed into the different shells. One more thing is there, student, we are continuously talking about the energy. We are saying that the electrons, they are having the energy, they are having a fixed energy. So that is why they do not radiate energy. This electron, if an electron is there in this K shell and it keeps on revolving around the K shell, and what happened here? Now, suppose the energy is here E1, so this electron will also having the even energy only, right? Otherwise, it will be not present here. So we can say that since this electron is also having this even energy, so that's why it keeps on rotating around it. Now, what happened here? Suppose the electron which is already having an energy of a E1. Now we have provided energy from outside. Now this energy is what? It is equals to E. So electron, since it is moving in this orbit, that is E1, having the energy E1 itself. Now when we apply more amount of energy from outside, it can be through electricity, it can be through heat, or it can even through sunlight also. So what happened? It gains energy. By receiving the energy, suppose the amount of energy received by this particular electron the amount of energy received by this electron is E. So since it has received more amount of energy, now its energy will become E2. So since now this energy, for this particular phase of a time, the energy gets increases to E2. So it will jump from K shell to N shell, because E2 is what? E2 is the energy level of a N shell. Okay, so it will jump to the L shell and start revolving in the L shell. But this phase is only for a temporary period of a time. This is not the ground state of the electron. So what happened? After few time, it will again come back to this own ground state, own energy level, original energy level, by radiating energy. The extra amount of energy which was received by the electron will get radiated, will get removed, and finally this one again reaches to its original orbit. Okay.